But now, hey, in the upper left, in the blue, he's Ryung. And yeah, now we go. We got the fancy splash intros where it says it's Ryung. Or it's Terran, excuse me. And of course, it's Keen as well. I really like this. They've updated their logos, or not their logos mod, their overlay from when they were doing the production from their home. So we have a better image of the team the team logos. The color is a little bit nicer. Yeah, that would be nice, right? So you have like the overall generic hexagon, right? Daemonum camo, where you would go and well, no, the spray's right. Ryung's for Team GP. What was I saying? Yeah, you have like your gray hexagon, which is just generic. Ryung's 8 around all around, and then we put like a bluer hexagon on the interior that says actually no, this is for the specific TVP or TVT or whatever. And we do have to point out that first of all, back this week, the prizes for best celebrations are back, which means that when we get Team Liquid, when we get Hearthstone playing, when we get Shopify, we get Hearthstone. I don't know. You know what? I'll suggest it. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. When we get Hearthstone playing for Shopify, I mean, the man he prints money on these celebrations, so he's got to be very happy about that. But also, this is back in studio now. Oh, yeah. No, they have player specific. So you saw it said Terran and then the Terran then Keen or Terran then Ryung. So I don't know how they've done it. I almost feel like they just have pre-rendered intros for everyone. How you have, however many players, they just kind of pre-render them the week before, and it's fine. That's kind of how I would do it. Or I would make a tool that would do it for me. I would be like read from the game info, which is also a good way to do it. Oh, I attached my stream to the wrong WTL event because I think Steadfast is doing his at 8. Wait, what? Come here. Maybe the Reaper's going to find its way in, though. There's going to be a slightly delayed command center coming in from Key. That's not the biggest thing. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're good. Oh, working now. But okay, so now, Ryung was able to dive, and actually he's doing a great job here of zoning out the Reaper of Keen, so we can dive in once again, delay the command center once again. But Keen, he has shenanigans on the mine on the other side of the map as well. But here comes the second Reaper. Ryung trying to not to let the shenanigans matter whatsoever. He goes 2-0. Now it's time to dive into the main base. But luckily, fortuitously here for Keen, there are Marines, there are Hellions out. The Reapers, they win the fight, but they don't win it at 2:30. They don't win it at 2 minutes. So that does mean that they are able to trade. It's not the end of the world when they do out-trade. Now driving up on the high ground once again. They are doing a fantastic job of out-trade. The Reaper's the thing that doesn't actually matter because, their HP, it regens. They win the fight again, and now the command center, it is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That command center is sitting at 99.9% HP. But it's still not mining. There we go. But Ryung has done such a good job of delaying this. And what did he lose for? He lost a Reaper? He lost a Reaper. That is, let's be real. Reaper's not all that much, and I don't know what plans Keen had for this, but proxying a Liberator does not really strike me as one of those plans. I mean, Liberators are decent if the Cyclone's on the other side or there's a Viking not out, because Marines are rather short range. But it's got to recoup a lot because, again, Ryung, while he's only up 2 workers, a lot of the time he would have spent building a worker lead was instead time turning into an orbital. So, it's not quite reflecting in the worker count as much as we would have expected. He has been able to theoretically buy himself maybe a tech lead, maybe a supply lead, whatever. But now here comes the Marine drop on the high ground with the Cyclone as well. They're going to find a Hellion to start. It's dead. And Ryung, he's just putting pedal to the metal here. He does not want to allow Keen any opportunity to find his way back into this game. But this is also Pride of Altaris, and the Liberator is doing a fantastic job. The tank does not deal with this one, so as SCVs are running, they do die. But on the high ground as well here from Ryung, he's got a Cyclone. He's got some Marines. He's going to find his way into the main base. Liberator again looking to siege up somewhere. As the SCVs, they return it back to mining. But now the question we ask ourselves, as always, is how much damage does Ryung get? The answer is not really a lot. He's just, there we go, sieging up on top of the mineral line. And with the lack of a Cyclone, this Liberator is really hard, or the lack of a Viking too. This Liberator is really hard to deal with. But look what we got here from Keen. As well, we're gonna wait a second because damage is still happening. But Macfield accelerators are going down with a second starport on the way, as more SCVs continue to fall. Now down to a 6-worker lead from Keen. It looks so good for Ryung in the early game, but unfortunately, he just has not been able to deal with his Liberator all that well, losing 7, 10 SCVs, whatever he lost. 8 SCVs off the Liberator is a problem. And now Keen Macfield accelerator about halfway done. He's added a second starport, which does tell us he kind of wants. It looks like he wants to go for that weird mechish style that we saw Kellerzer go for, where it's Sky Terran with mech, but it's a much heavier focus on Vikings and Ravens than traditional mech is. Alaros, exactly, no delay day. In fact, 50% of my streams in the I'm out of town from the 15th to the 21st, but 50% of my streams, pretty much more, are going to be with no delay, because I'll be doing WTL at a more NA friendly time period on Friday, Saturday, Sundays. I think it's something I've decided I'm going to start doing, and those inherently don't have delay because it's off of the clean feed has a delay, and I mean this happened in the morning, so what are you going to do? But okay, here now, good siege up from Ryung. He has lost a lot, but his army supply is still in a fairly good spot. The question, though, is whether he's going to be able to break the high ground. So there we go. Tanks getting dropped on forward onto the high ground. No, just on the low ground right here with the Raven buffering for them. And now we're going to start to see shelling away at the command center, but it can just fly away. It's really not that big of a deal. And, of course, it looks like the Cyclones in the middle of the map, they took some sort of trade, took a little bit of damage. But, of course, with Macfield Accelerator done, well... Oh, you submitted your thesis. Congratulations. That's really awesome, Alaros. I'm so happy to hear that. And now you have 4 days. Yeah, there we go. So Liberator now is going to siege up here on the tanks. And Keen's actually a little bit slow in unsieging, but he eats a marine shot first. So none of the tanks really go down just yet. But again, tanks re-siege back in a better position on the natural. But what this is doing from Ryung is it's buying time for him to recoup some of his economic losses. He's still down 5 workers, but he's building SCVs. His third base is done. It's going to go on location faster. But he does have to be careful because he does not have air dominance. He will likely not have air dominance this game because he is 1 starport to 2 right now. So technically 4 Vikings can come out at a time. I'm not sure of the tech lab reactor situation, which means that even though there is some interesting air stuff, right, with the Liberator here, you do have to spend scans to make that happen. But okay, tanks are going to siege up right now. Auto turrets getting dropped. 1 tank gets disabled. The second one, well, it's just dead as the Marines looking to run on forward. But Stim is not done yet, so this is kind of an awkward fight for Ryung as he loses yet more. His third base is on location. His third base is mining, and so long as he does not lose an entire army, well, he's going to be okay for the most part. That being said, these 2 Cyclones, they have Macfield accelerators. They are spicy boys. And they're going to do a lot of damage here to the command center, but eventually they do get shoved on out. So Ryung forced back. The command center stays alive. And the question now is whether Keen on the chase finds much of anything. Ooh, those Cyclones should not have died. Yeah, I don't know, Alaros. Institutional momentum is a fun thing, but WTL, please. Observer, please. That was the fight we needed to see, as the army came up the high ground, all the tanks go down, but instead we got to look at the drop in the natural. Okay. That looks like it worked out fairly well for Keen on both sides. The drop got cleaned up. I was worried about the push up the high ground there because Ryung was already sieged up with his tanks, but I guess the Vikings landed, and I guess there were enough disables or auto turrets, so the tanks didn't really annihilate everything. So now, what is our tank count at? I can't tell you. I don't know what the tank count is, but I'm sure it's something. I mean, Demonum, it doesn't matter. If I showed a replay, I would just show the exact same thing that I previously showed. I don't have, I'm not in the game. I can't go look at things. It's very sad. But this is just the WTL experience. And again, remember, Team GP, Ryung here, they're aiming to win the game in regulation. They are aiming to not go to an ace match, because an ace match actually, I believe, gives what. Yeah. So if they go to ace here, I mean, a winning is still good, but if you go to ace, it means you only get 2 points instead of 3. And if you lose an ace, you get a point. So right now, Team GP is down 3 points. Technically, if they win in regulation, so say a 4-2 scoreline, which is the only way you can win in regulation, or like a 4-1, 4-0, something like that. Actually, no, because the games are all played. So technically, you can go 6-0. But anyway, minimum 4-2. When that happens, you get Team GP would get 3 points. Kai'Sa would get 0, and they would go tie for the liminal place. And I believe technically KDF would still have the tiebreaker because they have better map score and things like that. But their series score would be the same, and that would put Team GB in a much better spot as they try to claw their way on back. But this is not an easy situation here for KDF or for Team GB whatsoever. And it does feel like going into this is a series that Ryung has to 2-0. Not necessarily because, say, Prince is bad. Prince can always take maps. But more because Ryung is so good in TVT and in the late game TVT, which is what we're getting into, that if he cannot take down Keen, who's been looking decent, but not, he's not Maru, then this does feel like this was a matchup win coming in from Team GP. They were able to figure out where the Terran was going to go, and they were able to snipe him with Ryung. But we're going to have to see, because right now, I mean, we have Ryung on 4 bases, Keen on 5, and actually that's something we need to talk about, because Ryung, one of his hallmarks, one of his calling cards almost, it seems like, when he's playing TVT, is his ability to understand when he can expand, and just he takes the map. Just instantaneously, he takes all his bases, but he finds himself down a command center right now. We don't even have what on the way, so Keen with a significant eco lead here. He's only up 2 workers, but he has that extra base. He's mining that much more gas, which as we look to move into the late game, as we look at the eventual Sky Terran transition, which actually doesn't look like we're going to get, because 3 more barracks are coming on down. I gotta imagine that's up to 8 racks, but I mean, it could be 12, I guess. As this happens, well, Keen's everyone's going to eventually want a little bit more gas, but now Ryung, he looks to stim on in here tanks. He caught him when they're on siege, so Ryung, he gets a little bit, but as soon as the tanks siege up, he backs on up. They do that dance once again. And now Ryung doesn't want to fight for the next little bit of time as these Marines run on in, trying to get on top of the tanks, and they're just not. Because Ryung does not have 2-2. That is a bit of a problem. Now, of course, you can fight in situations like this where you have tank siege and your opponent does not, as he dives in, gets 2 tanks for free, and before Armor Shredder goes down. So now, technically, Ryung has a 4 upgrade lead. But even still, you can fight in range of your tank. You really do not want to fight out of range of your tanks. Win +2 armor is pretty far off. Pretty far off. Now, of course, +2 mech attack coming in from Ryung, and we're not even seeing that. Keen is just totally skipping the tank superiority stage of this game. There's no fight kicking off here. Good Viking counts, though, for Ryung. Means he's going to knock everything from the sky. I'm not really sure. It looked like 2 tanks from the medevacs, but they did just go down. All the medevacs are falling. Vikings as well. Marines stimming on forward to get on top of the Vikings here. Ryung has just found a masterful fight. He had a better understanding of the type of game he had to be playing, and so this air's dominance, this air superiority has allowed him to just crack, absolutely blast open the position of Keen. Now, it's still it's not glittering. It's still part of Altaris. It's still hard to find your way up the high ground, but he wins the Viking fight. He wins the ground battle. He has so many more tanks right now. He finds himself up 40 supply, and he's going to be able to knock down the gold base. So at the very least, this buys him time to go take the gold base of his own, do something like that, and really start to constrict the map. But it does feel like, despite that fantastic fight that he took, and it was truly a fantastic fight, he's up to 87 SCVs. It was a fantastic fight. He does need to do something about this base that Keen has been able to sneak up, because I don't think Ryung knows about it. So it feels like he thinks he's on 4 bases versus 4 bases, which means that fight, fantastic. In a 4 base setup and with base parity like that, absolutely fantastic. That's what you want to see. But if you're 4 bases to 5, and actually 4 bases to 6, because Keen has the upper right coming up rather soon, suddenly it's a little bit not as nice, because your opponent is mining a little bit more than you. They have more gas, they have more minerals, they have more space control. As Liberator is killing something. I'm not really sure what. And of course, Ryung is a little bit slower to that tier 3 tech as well, to to Corvid reactors, to mass ravens, things like that. And he always, Oh, we have 2 more start parts on the way, so eventually that will be fixed. But for a while, he will still have, of course, have a lower Raven count is down now. Here we go. Keen trying to knock something down. He's not going to get a single tank, though. He gets some Marines, but it's not going to work out. Army supply is pretty damn good, and with +2 tank shots, they 2-shot Marines. Or they 1-shot Marines, actually. They 1-shot stim Marines, regardless. So that does mean that, you know, nice try there. But the tank siege up, things go down. And meanwhile, the Liberator Harass is doing a fantastic job. Command Center's going up on the left. They're a little bit under threat, but should be fine. Decent split there from Ryung. And the notable thing, the most important thing is his tanks are the ones that get armor shredded, not necessarily his Marines, because tanks, ideally, they're not even involved in the fight. I mean, they're shooting, but they're not accepting damage. They're only, well, they're only enforcing damage. All right, so Liberator's going to get a couple more SCVs because the SCVs return just a little bit sooner. But of course, looks like Ryung's going to lose that fight, as well as a... Was that a... No, those were just missile turrets, I think, going down. This run by does get dealt with. It's now finally Ryung starting to swallow up the map as well. He has the gold. He has the 12 o'clock position, much like his opponent has the 6. He's taking the... What do we want to call it? Like the 8 o'clock position, 8.5 o'clock position, 8:30 position. While his opponent has the 2:30 position. So he's equalized bases. In fact, he finds himself up 1 here. So, and it's a gold. So it actually is pretty damn important. And also, we're gonna have +3 mech attack. We're gonna have armor. We're gonna have armor for his Vikings and his tanks. We're gonna have building upgrades. Ryung, with the economic advantage he's been able to build for himself, is getting all these ancillary upgrades that do not necessarily end the game, or they do not necessarily even win the game, but they build small advantages, and they start to slowly constrict the map. If the tanks don't die as fast, the Vikings don't die as fast, it means that you can leave tanks with less support over the course of the map, which means you can control more space. If you get high-tech auto-tracking and building armor, your planetaries are that much harder to kill, which allows you to control more space and be more active elsewhere. Same idea with the Vikings. I mean, you get the point. Of course, this is Pride of Altaris. So as cool as this is, as good a position as Ryung is, he's building himself a bank. He's getting those ancillary upgrades, +3 mech attack, +1. It looks like +1 mech armors. Now the Marines stay on fire. We're going to see a lot of these tanks get disabled. The one sieged up one is going down. So Ryung, he looks like he's trying to find his way a position on the high ground, but the Raven count seems so much stronger for Keen. And I think the Viking count is as well. So while Ryung runs forward, we got to remember, because, well, Keen's army supply or worker supply is less, his army supply is higher. And that does cause some problems. So we get to this really interesting late game scenario where it's about positioning, sure, but it is also so much about missile turrets are actually doing a little bit of work here as people see the tanks get disabled, but that's just going to be some wasted energy. It doesn't seem like Ryung wants to take, or Keen wants to take the fight, but Ryung absolutely does. That's a decent amount of disables though on the Vikings, so it looks like Keen's going to be able to take that fight on the air, but in the ground, the Marines run forward. Marines buffering here for the Vikings means that even though a bunch of them are disabled, it does not matter. Again, Ryung taking a fantastic low ground to high ground fight. Again, he opens up a supply lead. Again, he resets the tech. As the SCV battle happening on the upper right. We'd love to see it. All right, so because Ryung has, of course, rounded out his mech upgrades, he's going to move into air upgrades as well. Little Marine run-by is going to try to do something as SCV of Ryung's will finally die. This command center may actually fall, actually. I'm not really sure. But Ryung is starting to do that Zerg thing where I think this command center dies. I mean, it does have building armor, so it's pretty damn tanky. Oh no, Ryung should be able to repair it if he is paying attention, and he's moving back to where SCVs are, so he should be fine. Now tanks are going to siege up. Who has the first shot here? So all the tanks of Ryung, they get disabled, but better armor shredder for Ryung at first. The Marines, they're coming in from every side, so they're knocking down the air. That really is all that matters in this fight. The ground can be dealt with. It's the Vikings that are the problem, and the Vikings, they reign absolutely supreme. As Ryung, he takes game 1, which he needed to do. In the upper left, his name, folks, is Ryung. I mean, that was a game that Ryung had kind of felt he was behind in the mid game a little bit, and then he drew ahead. He got that one good fight. Said, this is the timing I can go and expand everywhere. This is the time I can do what I want, and he did. He made the world his oyster, and he found all the pearls. And by the end of that game, he was taking both upper right and bottom left. So he was actively taking money from his opponent, which is so much really it feels like so much a TVZ ZVT thing, or specifically a ZVT thing, ZVP thing. But Ryung, with all that space control he had in the middle of the map, he just made it so hard for his opponent to exist on the edges of the map that, well, that's the way things went. Standard opener from both sides here. Barracks Double Gas Factory. I mean, that is your standard TVT setup. And by the way, folks, I don't know if you heard the news. It's not official, but it has been conjectured that we're going to get new maps for Valencia. As far as I'm aware, that's what I've heard. There we go. Let's turn off that awkward chroma key on the background that doesn't do anything. So ESL uploaded, I think, 7? They uploaded 7 maps to the arcade, and they've all been edited, as confirmed by Milo on Fire and other map makers, where they've been edited, doodads have been removed, and things like that. And, well, apparently the story I'm hearing is that pro players were asked whether new maps before or after the online event, I guess, or they were asked whether they would be okay using new maps for the DreamHack Valencia online regionals, and enough of them voted no. The story I'm hearing is that almost every Zerg voted no, and other people voted yes, which I mean is fair. This is a pretty Zerg favored map pool. Let's see. Last map pool was pretty Terran favored. This one's pretty Zerg favored. Are we going to see a Protoss favored map pool? What even would be a Protoss favored map pool? Like, I can tell you what favors a Zerg, and I can tell you what favors a Terran. But in terms of map design itself, I'm not really sure what favors Protoss. Smaller chokes in the natural, maybe, so it's easier to wall off? I don't know. But anyways, apparently, pretty much all the Zergs together, they voted, no, we do not want more. We don't want new maps. We want to play on the old maps. Dead airspace? Maybe Waterstone. I mean, yeah, certainly with the I guess. The trick is, though, that's also really good for muted play. And that's really good for Terran drop play. So it's one of those things. Like, I can tell you that a choky map is really good for Terran. In general, a larger map is really good for Zerg. We have Pride of Altaris, and we have Glittering Ashes, and we have Hardwire in this pool that makes it pretty Zerg favored already. We're going to have to see what happens here, because there's a Widow Mine that is, of course, meant to catch this army here of Keen. But Keen saw it, I guess, and he just doesn't even go for it. Okay, so he's going to back up the Widow Mine, doing his job, just keeping Ryung safe. Yeah, you know, Glacier is tradition. It's something that we do on, I certainly think it has validity after a break. When I'm producing YouTube content, like strictly for YouTube, I introduce him once and I just go. He's going to drop a scan to kill the Widow Mine. That actually allows for Keen to maybe find some value here, because there's a lot of Reaper Hellion. That is 5 Reapers, 3 Hellions, and Ryung is not ready for this. He was relying on the Widow Mine to keep him safe, and he is not safe here. Now, Lock-On is eventually going to kill stuff, but the question is, how much of the SCV line, how much damage does this army of Keen get before Ryung is able to clean it up? So right now, it's 3 workers go down. The Hellions in the natural finding value. Reapers in the main base. 5 workers have died, as the last of the Reapers should now fall. That scan was massive value glaciered. 7 total SCVs have gone down. Ryung finds himself down 4. 2 Hellions, they find their way out. Ah, man, that was mega value there for Keen. So, to continue answering your question, Glacier, because, you know, we're going to have a bit of a dead space here as both players build up a little bit. I think it absolutely has a place as the graphical intros. In big matches, I think it has a place because we're getting out of a game, we're talking about the game, we're getting back into it. It allows you to kind of recenter yourself in the broadcast. But for something like this, where I'm just doing it, we're not really having a talk craft between each map or doing whatever. There's no prolonged breaks. It is, I think it doesn't make a lot of sense to do the actual, in the bottom left, in the top right, he is blah, blah, blah. Don't think it's really necessary. So yes and no. I think it depends on the format. I think it depends on the format of the series. As now Ryung. So he's got a Raven. I thought I saw Raven of Ryung, but we are 1080p, right? Yeah, I checked that. We're 1080p. I'm just watching 1080p on a 4K screen, so I'm like, where are the pixels? I cannot see them. Look, okay, the Raven of Ryung is at home. Raven of Keen also at home, so we're not going to see some sort of Raven harass here. Keen taking advantage of the map control that he has to take his third base on location, whereas Ryung has to take it in his main base, but another Hellion will fall. Waterstone bunker is supposed to Widowmine defense. It's a 6 one way, half dozen the other. I'm trying to think of TVT openings. I don't feel like I see bunkers all that much in TVT as an opening. It just feels like 100 minerals in the early game just slows things down too much. I'm trying to think back. I don't cast a lot of TVT as much. I don't really think about the bunker. But I really don't feel like I see bunkers in the natural all that much. I may be wrong, though. Anyway, now here comes the army of Keen into the natural, trying to take advantage of that early game advantage. But hey, the auto turrets are doing a damn fine job. And now the Vikings, they got to land, and they're going to kill it all. At least here can knock down the Marines. One Marine coming in from behind is going to slow this retreat down a little bit. So Ryung, he takes a masterful fight. He took so much damage in the early game. But actually, oh man, the Raven there providing the vision. That last tank falls. Now Ryung finds himself up 10 army supply. Or 10 supply. He's down a little bit in economy, so he's up 13 army supply. He's going to run across the map with what I believe is a significant tank lead and start to try to put pressure on Keen. And this is how this map tends to go. It's actually a reason why I do enjoy Berlingrad a little bit, where... Oh, another tank falls. Oh, okay. This is a preemptive SCV pull here. That's a bit awkward there. Keen thought he was going to have to break tanks on the right side, and Ryung just cycles around. It's a preemptive SCV pull, and now... Do you do it again? Do you waste that much more mining time as the tank siege up here on the left? I mean, if you feel like you got to hold that spot, maybe you do feel like you have to hold it again. But the command center, the orbital here, is going to have to be forced to lift off. Do we have it burning, though? That's the question. Is it going to force repair? In fact, does it die? That's an even better question here, because right now, Ryung has a Viking lead. And okay, so he's going to keep shelling away at it, sacrificing his Vikings for the cause, but now he's going to target the Vikings of his opponent down. Again, the Vikings are falling. And again, the command center is starting to burn here. SCVs continue to repair. But that is money that is now not in the coffers of Keen to build more units, to build more army, to do anything like that. And with the Viking lead just here, he's going to camp at the starport. So we're going to see Vikings, they're going to pop out. They're going to continue to die. And yes, oh man, poor target fire. Keen could have gotten a second. But as the Vikings, now they continue to rally. Ryung here just with his air dominance. He's sitting at more tanks than Marines almost. This is 6 tanks here as the starport. You're not going to get many more... Oh, it's dead starport. Starport's down. Actually, that's massive. So no more Vikings for quite a while now coming in from Ryung, which means he can be much more aggressive in his sieges. He can start to really put the hammer and tongs to Keen in this game number 2. And we got to remember, this was a game where Keen took a massive trade. Okay, SCVs get pulled now on the idea that maybe the tanks are in siege, but really only it is one of them. So 8 SCVs are going to go down, 12 go down, and yeah, sure, you kill some tanks, but it does not matter. Ryung, he takes the 2-0 that realistically, folks, he had to get. In the bottom right, Prince. In the upper left, his opponents, it's Cham. Yeah, drink it. I intentionally don't check scores. And when I pulled it up because I wanted to make sure I knew what this setup was going to week 7, right? In terms of what needed to happen, but I intentionally did not look at the actual scores themselves, and I used because in Liquipedia you can say, oh, let's show me what it was like this week or this round. So I did that. So I don't know who wins. I just know that this is going to be... I mean, we had late game Ryung, master of TVT, who just doesn't die in TVT. It's ridiculous how good he is. Take a 2-0 over Keen, who, by the way, has been looking pretty good. He won an EPT Cup recently, I think, or he got in the finals in NA, which we all know is the most competitive EPT Cup, because not because NA is super competitive, but because it's a good time for Koreans and Europeans. Oh, makes me sad. One day. Maybe Stormgate. Maybe Stormgate will be competitive in an A. Actually, when I had my preview, I was asking them about it, about what their thoughts were about building up regions and providing opportunities for like minor regions to succeed while not punishing. So region locking for StarCraft 2 was super successful in building up Europe and building up an A to a lesser extent. I mean, we got Neve out of it. Scarlet's always been good. We have Estrella, who's been looking rather good. Disc coming out of this as well. And maybe Trigger. Although I don't know if we can argue Trigger is directly a product of region locking because he started playing the game like 3 years ago. And, of course, I mean, it's beyond a doubt that it worked well for Europe. As Prince, is that a... Oh, he just got a scout. Okay. Is this a fake cannon rush, Prince? But no. That is a shield battery from Trap just to trap the... There we go. To trap the probe so you kill it off. I explicitly don't have a bracket command for this Dricket because brackets are spoilers in this instance. So... But anyway, yeah, I was talking to them about it because, and that is something they are keeping abreast of because they do want to allow regions to grow to prominence. They do want to allow, I mean, we're based in North America. They do want to make sure, they do want to provide opportunities for North America to grow and have a good Stormgate scene. And remember, they're head of esports. Oh, no, Damon, if you spoil, I will ban you. Or at least time you out. But okay, now Trap on the other side of the map. You're trying to find some value. And, oh, this is actually just really good Stalker Micro. He's going to kill 2 Stalkers. At the very least, he's going to have killed 1. He's going to force a recall of what? What did he even recall? I don't think much. Probes? He recalled a probe. Yeah, this is not going to keep the Stalker alive. Ring around the rosy. Where is the Stalker from? Trap coming in on the natural. It looks like he won't. And there's the recall coming in from Trap. So he gets the Stalker, he gets the probe. He gets the hell on out of there. And he gets another probe. I mean, there's just early game advantages there from Trap. I feel like in this series we had to see something really crazy from Prince. So trying to just go for a standard opener is really not the best. Is really not the play you're looking for. At least I don't think. Oh, wait, am I in the right? Good. I was like, I know I'd had the just chatting tag at one point. Dave Benham, are you going to be going to Valencia? I'm kind of jealous. Because unless something crazy happens, I am not going to Valencia. So Deb's looking for a little bit of value, but with the Stalkers and the sentries on the low ground and there being a nice wall, it's going to be fine. Also, that reminds me. So, is this a StarCraft cast? Is this just let's geek out about Stormgate some more? I don't know. But Debs find their way in. 2 workers go down. 3 force fields are what you got to spend there. And, okay, you don't lose that extra probe, but that is all the energy on these sentries right now. Yeah, fair enough. Is this a StarCraft cast? Is this a Bayo can finally the embargo on what Bayo knows about Stormgate is lifted, so I can finally talk about stuff and just be very excited about it until the end of time? Yeah, probably. But for their esports infrastructure, they're thinking pretty heavily about how to allow, say, NA to succeed and give it the resources it needs to grow while not punishing, say, Korea for being so good and locking them out of everything. It's both Damon. When nothing's happening, we geek about Stormgate. When things are happening, we talk about StarCraft. As Prince has got a bit of an adept drop into the natural. So what he's going to do is going to try to shade up in the main base. He's going to put his adepts. Oh, he's going to find his way into the main base, I guess. And then a couple of adepts in the natural here. This is kind of cool. But the Stalkers now, they're going to knock the War Prison down. 5 workers have died, make it 6. And things are dying. The game is happening. Things are dying. The production hit the wrong button, though. I'm going to guess 7 workers died. Oh, no. I'm going to guess 9 probes died. Oh, okay. 12 workers died. Great move there from Prince. Actually, that is a fantastic move. He finds himself up just about 10 workers, but he's down just about 10 army supply by that same margin. And he's going to hallucinate a... Fantastic. He hallucinates. So I wish we saw more of this, but he's going to hallucinate an immortal. Just make life a little bit more difficult. But now here the stars, they blink on forward. Trap's blink is done. It's not here for Prince. And Immortal finds its way on the low ground. And this one's real. So Trap, it will have to target that one down. But for right now, he is just eviscerating this army. Killer instinct from Trap says, yeah, you just sacrificed a lot there to make sure that you got damage done to me. And that being said, the stalker count here at Prince is falling down. Trap he's dominating this fight. The fake Immortal is doing nothing. And Trap now into the natural, trying to get on top of the stack defense before the Immortal arrives. And, well, he's just going to blink on top. A shield battery overcharge gets popped, but the Immortal is still taking damage regardless, but not quite enough. And with the probe pull, actually, wait a minute. Prince is doing a pretty damn fine job of surviving, and his blink will be done just about right now. But he may still lose this fourth base, and he's lost some probes too. So Trap is certainly rebuilding the worker deficit. Now Stalker's going forward again, trying to get that Immortal on down. Stalkers, they're doing what they can, but if you're losing Immortals like this, that is the anchoring idea. That is the point of this. You don't open fast blink, but you get a lot more Immortals. And if you keep losing them one by one, you're no longer one-shotting Stalkers. You no longer have that oomph. And honestly, I feel like Prince should have just given this base up. Buy yourself more time. You have a worker lead. You know that. Trap's third base is not all that quick. All right, but now again, the Stalkers Trap into the natural, trying to find something. Probe Pull is actually killing off all the sentries, which is really useful. Knocking out all those Guardian Shields makes a difference, but it only makes a difference if you have an army supply. And, well, Prince doesn't. He has one Stalker remaining, and actually now he has literally zero army supply on the map right now. Oh, that's painful, Alaros. And yes, I could do it. Oh, intro. Oh, no. We know who the players are. I do like this intro, though. It's kind of the brush stroke. It's rather swanky. And my roommate is cooking a marinated beef stir fry right now. That smells really good. Oh, by the way, folks, as we get into this game, have you all signed up for the Stormgate beta? Because their website is kind of backupable enough to sign up for the beta at this point, and you should, regardless of whether you plan on actually competing in the beta or playing in the beta, not necessarily competing in the beta, but playing in the beta or not. Signing up for it. Can I fax? Yes, I will fax you some of his beef stir fry. Signing up for the beta boosts their matrix, or the beta boosts their matrix, and I cannot say a hard E and a soft E right now. It's either the beta and the metrics or the beta and the matrix. I can't do both, apparently. But if they sign up for the beta, it will help boost their matrix. Same like wish listing it on the Steam store. So you should do that. And of course, be excited for Sunday, where I'm just going to be live all day, apparently, because we're going to do, we're going to watch party the PC game show. We're going to co-stream the PC game show. Yes, there is no beta yet, but you can sign up for it now. And showing immediate excitement about it, I mean, you have a year. You have like half a year to sign up. But signing up for it now does allow them to justify hype and maybe additional rounds of funding and things like that. So, yes, there is no beta right now. Beta is coming sometime in 2023. I think it's earlier. I'm thinking it's earlier rather than later in 2023, but still. So this last game, Prince did have, he got good work done. He got Adepts in the main of the natural. He heals 12 probes. He puts himself in a massive economic lead. But unfortunately for him, Trap just did too much. Trap's blink timing was faster. He took advantage of it. And really the big problem was Prince didn't lock down one position. He honestly, with the damage he got, and because Trap was only on 2 bases, it really was this game where if Prince even loses his third, his economic advantage is secured. He's fine. He's up 12 workers. He can just hold the natural and be totally fine with it. But because he tried to hold the third, it became a problem. So game 2, what are we going to see? Well, Prince, we see a warp. We see a robo coming down, a pylon on the map, additional gateways. This looks to me like a 3-gate robo. Not confirmed just yet, but that is what it absolutely looks like. So for now, the probe, I think there was a hallucination maybe, runs in. I'm sorry about the lag, folks. That is not something on my end. That is something on the clean feeds end, on the production end. So we do what we can. I do apologize. But now Prince running onto the map here. He has that. He's 3 stalkers warping in. He's going to have a warp prism eventually. This pylon was actually only for a warp in position. Looks like it's not actually going to be for a gateway. And now we ask ourselves the question, can Prince beat Trap? Can he break him? There's a reason that 3-gate robos, or certainly getting your robo at home, is not as popular as it once was. Shield battery overcharge is pretty damn strong, but it's not unbeatable necessarily. So Prince with some good micro, some good macro, some good maybe multitasking if he goes for a Twilight eventually. Well, it's gonna work out. It may work out for him, but for now we're gonna see Stalkers warp in. It looks like okay, 3 star. Oh, okay. So he's gonna. This is pretty cool. Looks like he's going to try to find. He's gonna try to find the position that Trap wants to be in. He's gonna force field him in one side of it. So there we go, force field. But it's only 3 Stalkers right now, and he's not really successful. Now the goal here, his goal was, I think, to get all of Trap into the main, and then force field him out of the natural. So then you run to the natural, you knock the stack defense down, and you take that positive trade. But because he was not able to really do that, now it's not really working out for him all that well. But now here we go, Prince diving on. He's going to knock some Stalkers down immediately. Stalkers still fall even with the shield battery overcharge because, hey, you know what? One tap potential is a powerful thing. But now the Stalkers are not falling. Now Trap is just taking positive trades here, and we have Immortals out pretty damn soon. The Stalkers trying to get on top of things because they have the Stalker lead. Some units get picked up in the Warp Prism, and that is nice. Actually, I'm sorry, no. Nice plays for Kites of Gaming, or plays versus Kites of Gaming later today. But now Prince has been forced out, of this main base. Trap has a natural. The army supply for Trap is better. The army composition with these Immortals out is better. And it really does fall now. Now for Prince, it feels like his job to do something in this game is just predicated now upon getting that wall between the main and the natural, getting a force field down, killing off half the army before the other half does something, or some sort of multitasking idea. That seems like it's just about it. So now, okay, there's actually everything in the natural, but well, 2 mortals and a stalker, and an immortal and 2 stalkers is probably going to be enough to keep him out of the main base right now. So again, Prince is looking for that opening. Eventually, he's going to have some. In fact, he's having immortals waddle his way onto the other side. But Trap now adding more gateways, adding a warp prism because he has enough immortals to feel safe, and it's just hard now for Prince to break this. Adepts now into the natural, but there's too much DPS there. You can't really commit to that one all that much. And now here we go again. Trap trying to chase things down. Low Stalkers do get picked up here. Nice micro from Prince to start. Force field, it does something, but the Stalkers are starting to fall here. Good pickup. There we go on that wounded one. But these Immortals is a firebase. We're starting to get to the point where just the damage is too strong. An Immortal from the other side is just going to be absolutely free as well. But on the flip side, most of the Stalkers here of Trap have fallen. He finds himself down 6 army supply, but it doesn't really matter so long as he's able to retreat 2 shield batteries. As shield battery overcharge to his defensive emplacements, he can afford to maybe take a poor Stalker trade because he's keeping Prince back. Prince is still only on 1 base. Have fun at dinner. Damon, it's Friday night. The feeling's right. You could be going out to dinner, or hang out with your friends, or you could hang out with me watching StarCraft. We all know what the more reasonable, the more valid solution is, and it's watching WTL. Absolutely. Oh, wait a minute here. That's unfortunate. Losing. I want to say there are probably 4 Stalkers in that War Prism. Just Prince was in the right spot. He found it out, and now this removes so much Trap's agency. It does remove some of his army supply, but again, we gotta remember he's still in a great spot. He's still up 8 workers right now. 9 workers. His economy's still in a fantastic spot. He's not taking too much damage from this arrest. He still has a natural. But now the Stalkers try to find their way in because the Warp Prism is pinning these Immortals back behind the mineral line. But they're not going to be successful in that endeavor. Prince, though, Disruptor's on the way. Warp Prism speed on the way. He's building himself into that next level of tech. He's building himself into really disruptor drops, which is going to be a fantastic idea. Meanwhile, these adepts, they're finding a lot of value because it's only 2 stalkers in the main. Stalkers don't really kill adepts all that quickly. All right, but another War Prism is out. Now, it doesn't make up for the fact that the Stalkers died, but, I mean, imagine this game if Trap had 8 more supply. He'd be in a much happier spot. I mean, his army is still powerful, but would be much worse. You know, Disruptor Shot is going to get just about nothing. Hot pickup there on the Immortal on the last second. Well done there by Trap. And with it only being one Disruptor right now, you're not super afraid. You will eventually. Disruptors get added in more and more, and it becomes much scarier. But for right now, we're going to see just target down. Disruptor Shot, it just absolutely whiffs. And now Prince is going to try to make something happen with a pickup micro, and he's actually doing a fantastic job. Great concave in, coming on in from the Team GP Protoss player. He's looking for a 1-1 scoreline, looking to keep that 4-2 alive, because if he splits here and Cham splits with Armani, Team GP gets 3 points. Team GP ties things up, and now Disruptor Shot is going to get 2 stalkers. There we go. And while that fight looked good for Trap at the start, the concave was too damn nice. So this game really didn't look all incredible. For Prince, he didn't get enough damage done. But finding that War Prism by taking these good fights on the other side, he's going to be able to get his third base roughly timed out with Trap. He's going to be able to get agency on the map now with double Disruptor in a Warp Prism. And we got to point out here, well, Trap does have Blink done in 10 seconds, but he's going to find this Warp Prism just a little bit too soon. Immortal drop on the other side. This is going to try to kill a base. And it's not enough Stalkers to really make that happen. So it looks like Prince will lose that third base, have it killed or canceled. Looks like he will cancel it. That's good at least. And now the Immortals in the main base here, just targeting down pylons. Immortals kill structures so quickly. That's an Artosis pylon. That's absolutely an Artosis pylon. But now we're starting to see at least some Immortals take, or the Warp Prism taking a little bit of damage. But this pressure coming in from Trap is terrifying. It's a bunch of Immortals, a bunch of Blinks, a bunch of Stalkers, a bunch of Blink Stalkers actually. Disruptor Shot gets a couple probes here, but now on the pull, Trap trying to wedge his way on in. Shield Battery it's going to go down. 3 Immortals targeting it down, say far too much. And Trap, his first attempt at breaking his opponent did not really work, but the second one, it's going to go through with flying colors. The Immortals are not falling. Trap, he takes the clean 2-0, or he takes the 2-0. I don't know if it was clean. Hey, Cobblestones. I have no idea what you're talking about, so I am going to... Yeah, we're not... I keep forgetting to look. We haven't seen too many celebrations yet. But also, we haven't seen Hearthstone play yet. So I'm looking forward to the Shopify Rebellion. Did Trap have a celebration? I forgot to look. It's new back this week, and I'm bad caster. All right, so Cham and Armani in this ZVZ. We got pretty similar setups from both players. Hatch gas pool from both sides. I don't think I saw an early pool. Your players have celebrations. Don't worry. Are you saying Platinum Heroes? Are you technically part of any team, Cobblestones? Nah, he's got to win maps. There we go. All right. So, pretty similar openings here from both players. ZVZ. Let's talk about a ZVZ primer for a second. I think it's useful to talk about. European ZVZ is rather defensive. You see hash gas pool, 28 to 32 supply third every single game. Very, very rarely. No, this is Cham, this is Cham. It's not cats. Very rarely do you see 27 link floods. You see it, but it's not nearly as often. We get talked about North America, 27 link flood every game, link bane aggression, whatever. Korean ZVZ is somewhere in the middle, just a little bit. But we do have to remember Cham is a student of the NA ZVZ. He does play on NA as a South American player. And in general, South American players have really weird ZVZ builds. The Zerg Lord loves going for double gas cancel into 16 supply to take a slightly faster 16 hatch. And it's just like, okay, what are you doing here, bud? But it does keep him slightly safer from earlier game shenanigans. As Armani, a swell of links here as speed, actually after speed does complete, and he's going for more. So it does appear that he wants to get a little bit aggressive here as the Bailey Nesh does complete. It does mean, though, Cham will bind himself a bit of a worker lead. The question, though, is whether he's going to be able to see what's happening, because we just have more and more lings on the production tab, folks. Banelings on that awkward spot, the production that our observer will not show us, but banelings are morphing in, and now can our production machine not lag? That'd be fantastic. Lovely, thank you. But now Zergling's onto the other side of the map here, trying to kill the third base of Cham. Already, we're going to see drones pulled away, but banelings are already done. So with good micro, ooh, that's actually a really fantastic trade here to start. Banelings running on forward. Oh, he's going to get a second one. Cham is holding this so well right now, but there's still so many Zerglings here, so many banelings here. Cham does have to build more. He's got a Roach Warren on the way, but those baneling connections to start were fantastic. They did mean that, again, just a little bit more value, but because Armani committed to it, which is a rare response. You don't normally see that. You commit a little bit, you say, whatever, it didn't work, I'm just going to go back to droning. The third base will fall. Now, of course, Baneling's looking to find some connections, but they want good ones. So we will see. We trade one Baneling for one Baneling. Really not the best here. Queen doing a good job. More Banelings rolling on in just to make sure the Banelings get softened. But two Banelings almost found their way in the mineral line, but it was only one. Now, of course, if another set of Banelings finds their way on in, that's a problem. But Lings here, they're going to find... Ooh, they're going to get one. And the second one is just going to kill a couple Lings. Good micro there. We're not going to see the third base reestablished. Lings, I think, finding their way into the natural, but no, it looks like the Queen is doing a damn fine job of serving as that wall, as that door. Because, folks, I'd like to remind you all, Queens are adorable. Ha! I said it. We got to remember, so Cham got some fantastic Baneling shots to defend that third base, but because Armani overcommitted, or committed more than you would expect, and there's not really a lot of vision from Armani on the actual the rally paths on this side. Either he underestimated and he got back into joining too quickly, or he didn't see what was happening, that the secondary swell of Lings was happening, so he did lose that base anyways. He's going to try to reestablish it now. He's just Roaches on the way, but also going into Spire Tech, which will be scouted. Yeah, it's going to be scouted. Okay. So now Armani is aware of what's happening. I feel like you almost just cancel the Spire at this point. You've lost a base. You're already implicitly behind. Roaches are finding their way onto the other side. A Spire is not a game winner for you right now. So I feel like we do need to see Cham just spend all his money. But okay, he's just dropping spines in the natural. Looks like he's going to give up the third ones. Again, effectively, he's just going for two-base Spire. And that is a thing in ZVZ, at least it can be. But we need more spines than this, or at least we need the spines to be up. That is the biggest, really, of deals. Because Cham is banking a lot of gas. He's got 500 gas here on the way. Actually really lacking in minerals because he had to make these spines. He's still got a worker lead. So if he's able to hold off, get these mutas on the other side of the map, or get them done, not really lose too much here, he's going to be in a fantastic spot. But now here come a bunch of Ains looking to waddle on in. Roach is going to have to split as one spine goes down, but there's still a couple more here. Shelling away at things. The Baneling nest does fall. Any mutas on the way. It's only 3. We have to see it. The Banelings, they got to die. Otherwise, they're going to find their way into a middle lines. But even then, they're knocking the spines down. There's absolutely no splash here for the Lings. They come piling on in. The all-in for Armani. Oh, man, he's a smooth customer here. He's wearing the most expensive suits. This all-in, it does suit him. That's the metaphor we're going for. Armani. He takes game 1, as we saw Cham just go. Now, in this game where, well, Cham's got to win to force an ace match. Bottom left. Cham, she's our man. He can't do it. No one can. And Armani in the upper right. Oh, man, I'm sad. What was I sad about? I don't know. Oh, and by the way, CBK Milkart. I don't think I ever said this, but thanks so much for joining us here today. Thanks so much for the follow. What was I saying? Yeah, so Cham has to win this map. He does have to take us to an ace match, but already KDF have, at least for this week, secured their spot in the playoffs. In terms of, they're in top 7. Team GP is outside looking in. If Team GP took a clean regular setup, right? I don't know what you want to call that. Um, it took a regulation win, right? So if you win 4-2, 4-1, or 4-2, 5-1, 6-0, you get 3 points. They're down by 3 points right now. Kwangdong Freecs would get 0. But if they go to ace match, Team GP would only get 2 points. Kwangdong Freecs would get 1 point, so it would be +1 delta instead, which means they would get closer. It would be a gap of 2 instead of 3, but it's not. We're tied back up that they are looking for. But still, you want to win. Team GP, they've had a couple times now where they've gotten very close, and it's like, okay, you really want to win. Like, you do still need to do that. Last week, Team GP lost 4-2 to Kaitsu Gaming after they put themselves back in contention by 4-2ing Good Game Gaming, getting those 3 points and putting themselves in a nice spot. Now, you have to remember that we are only in week 7. There are 5 more weeks, 5 more rounds after this. So what happens right now, it does not guarantee one way or the other what's happening. But we are starting to see patterns emerge. Like Team NV and Dragon Phoenix Gaming are just gross. Kaitsu Gaming is maybe not quite as strong as expected. Even with Rainer doing very well for himself. You would think a team of Solar, Rainer, and Spirit would be killer, but going into this week, they're not top 3. In fact, they sit at 5, which they're still 5-1, so they're still tied in series with everyone else, but they only have 14 points instead of 16. So 2 of their matches, 2 of their series that they won. They went to ace match, or one of their series they went to ace match, and then they lost the series in regulation. So that's what the -2 points come from compared to, say, DPG. So they're doing good, but they're not absolutely topping the table just yet, which I think many people thought. I mean, it's Rainer and Solar and Spirit. I mean, you expect them to just absolutely top the table. But now here Cham in the, well, he's just getting it scattered out, scatting Lings the other side, and Armani's doing the same thing he did in game 1. He says, yes, let me go. Let me flood Lings off of just about 27 workers, 28 workers this time. Renovated Fall, do drones have feet? That is an existential question that I'm not prepared to answer. Because they do have little foot-like things, but they also kind of float, and they have like some sort of gaseous setup. I forget. They have some sort of like levitation sacks, I think. I can't remember the lore. So they have like vestigial legs as they float on their journey. Is I guess the answer. Oh, that's a weird spot for Banelings to come on in on. They're going to look for something, and it could have been really bad, but, well, Cham, he was just not positioned where he needed to be. Banelings running into the national, but only one does fall. More and more Banelings morphing on in. As Armani, he's just trying to punish Cham here. This is the old current response to a foreigner existing. He says, okay, I'm going to all in you. And it worked game 1, so why not try it game 2? But that's a big Baneling connection there. Another big Baneling connection. And, oh, man, Cham is pretty happy about how this is going thus far. Oh, he's going to get a 3rd. So many Lings do fall, and oh, he's gonna get a 4th. And this is so nice. Knocking down 4 Banelings for 2, killing off all the Lings. Yeah, Armani technically has a supply lead, but that's just because he's doing something. Oh, and he's gonna lose more drones because Banelings in the middle line. Cham is just doing everything this game. Shades of when he killed off Dark. I mean, this is just Cham dominating on both sides, and the supplies don't really tell a big story. But that's fine, because the whole point is Cham is his 3rd base. Cham is alive. Cham got economic damage on the other side. And if we look at resources lost, it would be pretty heavily in favor of the Mexican Zerg player. So, yeah, great moves there from Cham, as that Baneling does not really connect. Now, Cham is going to try to find a queen, but Banelings arrive on the other side, so not too much. But Cham already has drones, or already has roaches on the way. Oh, bait. Tried to pull the old bait and switch. Bait and switch, but didn't really work out for him all that well. All right, so Armani really just stuck on this Ling idea. 10 more Lings on the way. He's only on 20. I mean, he is all in as hell. You look at the army supply and you're like, oh, this is reasonable, but it is pure Ling Bane. There are only 26 drones on the map. So Armani has to make something happen yesterday. Maybe if he makes something happen now, he'll be okay. A massive Ling run by killing the 3rd or something. But he is in a sticky situation, and Cham starting to realize this. He wants to. It's clear he wants to run onto the other side of the map, but this is one of those games where you win by just not doing anything. Sometimes you'll see players go and they say, I have a great lead, and then they just kind of sit back and don't do anything for a little bit, and their opponent macros back into it, and it's scary. This is one of those games with how Armani is choosing to play, where if Cham just kind of sits back and enjoys his significant economic lead, puts some Banes down in the mineral lines, Armani will not grow to beat him. But Cham running out of the map here, he says, also, you can't beat me right now. I have so many roaches. Your army supply is not very good. The Lings are going to try to find some roaches on their lonesome, and Cham's going to rotate on over. I feel like you just kind of go in anyways, but he feels confident in his ability to save the roaches, just morphing a Ravager to make sure that does happen. And the roaches are already finding their way onto the third base. They got to find themselves into a nice spot, and already a pretty decent surround here coming in from Armani. But Bailey's not really getting the best connections here. Some of the roaches fall, but we're going to see some Ravager cocoons as well. But army supply actually fairly equal because of that trade. And we see the Ravager fall, but now here come the rest of the roaches. +1 is about halfway done, but we're not there just yet. Lings, they're trying to find Lings, excuse me, if Armani find their way in. Armani, he's winning the fight on the other side of the map as well. So technically he's making good things happen. But technically in real life are very different situations, because we say, the army supplies are fairly similar. He's not dying. 60 works to 32 says a whole hell of a lot. Cham is investing into upgrades. He has a lair done. His +1 ranged is closer to being done than not done. Roach speed on the way. All these things. He has enough queens. All these things make him very happy. He is a fat duck. Okay, so Armani's just going to tab out, realizing that there really is no way to come back in this game. He gave it a good shot. Cham, do we have anything? Cham, you just brought your team to an ace match. You didn't lose. And you might look at this and you say, oh, this is super Protoss favored. This is super Kwangdong Freecs favored. Trap is one of the best TV or PvT of all time, but Ryung's TVP is really good. He was the reason he was almost single-handedly the reason that we didn't see Protoss do super well at Katowice, because he knocked them all out. And funnily enough, Trap and Ryung have very similar VP/VT forms. Ryung's VP is apparently below 50%, which seems crazy recently. And Trap's is also, it's 48% versus 42%. I'm not really sure what that's about, but I will tell you that Ryung and Trap this is a truly fantastic map, or a truly fantastic matchup. I'm hoping. Even if you do have Mario versus Cyril, sometimes it's so good, and sometimes just one player has figured out this little tick about their opponent, and it's just like, okay, series best of 7's over in 30 minutes. Have fun, enjoy your night. So the second question I ask you all, as we're getting into this game, I'm waiting for things to develop. I mean, right now, nothing too crazy. Just barracks expand coming in from Ryung. It looks like it's a marine reactor expand, so certainly not a Reaper expand. A little bit more greedy. This can tend to build into like 3-Rex play. Of course, it's not. We have a factory on the way, but it can build into those more aggressive timings. And Trap going for pretty standard opener as well. Twilight going down, so most likely a blink opener. We're just gonna have to see how many gateways he drops. Probably, I was hazard a guess, it's gonna be 2 or 3 gate expand. But now that we got some time on the downtime, so the depth's on the other side of the map here for Trap. Ryung on the low ground is gonna say he's gonna find a little bit of damage, and the depth doesn't do much of anything. Okay. How you feeling about the Frost Giant release, or reveal, not the release, with Stormgate happening? I'm super freaking excited about it. And I know the reveal, like the 5-minute of, hey, here's the trailer, and we're gonna talk to Tim Morton for 3 minutes. It was not super great. But I do urge you, if that is of your opinion, you're like, okay, this is just why'd they hype us up so much? I would urge you to go and watch the interviews that they did on Fear Dragon did one, and Winter did one, Back to Warcraft did one. I'm trying to get a couple in, but that's in the future. I'm not important enough yet, I guess. Our Fear Dragon actually did 4, and they're releasing over the next 3 days. Because if you listen to that, you're going to be much happier. And then, of course, the PC Gamer Show, which I will be co-streaming on Sunday, where we're going to get a much more in-depth look at the Frost Giant game. Much more in-depth look. All right, so where do we go in this game? How many gateways dropped? I think we're on 3 gates right now. Trap's going to add his 3rd base pretty soon. 1 adept falls, 2nd one. Again, it continues to find the scout. Should not complete. There we go. And Ryung looks like he's going to go for a marine tank push in this game. So 3rd barrack, I believe that's the 3rd barracks going down right now. It should be at the very least. We're going to see Stim on the way pretty soon. And, well. Okay, that's the 2nd barracks. We're going to see 3rd barracks coming up soon. And it's funny, we don't really see these Raven pushes as often as we used to. I think this is because... Well, first of all, okay, nice job there, making sure the Raven doesn't get scouted. I think this is because we're seeing more low, like, gateway man openings coming in from Protest players. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't sleep well enough last night. I think this is because we're not getting enough. I think we're seeing more pure gateway openers. So, like what we see Trap doing here, where he has a Twilight or a Templar Archives really quickly. We're gonna see Charge on the docket soon enough. Hey, it's Frost Giant using one of my emotes. That's pretty cool. I'm so excited for the PC Game Show on Sunday. It starts at noon, right? I'll be streaming. I'm very excited that people can. Yeah, I know, right? I was just talking about you, and here you are. I love that we're seeing you as the stalkers here from Trap. They're trying to find just a little bit of something. And Supply Depot is nice, but it's not really going to supply block for Young all that much. But we got to point out that this Raven opener is not all that useful anymore in a straight-up fight, because this is Charge Link Storm. So what are you going to disable? You get Armor Shredder Missile, and that's great. It does diminish the power of one wave of Zealots. But it's not just this, oh, I can punch through now, that you would otherwise look to see. But yeah, Frost Giant, we were just talking about the PC Game Show on Sunday, and how I'm excited about the stuff that I've seen. How understandable that maybe people are underwhelmed by 5 minutes or something. They just gotta watch your interviews elsewhere. Also, I know I asked for some. I want to talk to Torch. If we can make that happen, that'd be fantastic. The esports circuit stuff you have all in mind is really exciting to me, just from like an infrastructural perspective. Yeah, I hear there's something that very few people have seen, not even people that were in the preview, days that we saw. So I'm very excited for that. Very excited to freak about that one. Is drop here on the right side or left side. I don't know my left or my right, but Trap does. He blinks on top of it. Stalker falls, actually Stalker doesn't fall, but a medevac dies. Luckily, not too many Marines. But Trap really on top of things in this game, as I was going to recall the Stalkers back home. Is Ryung getting ready for his push? All right, so folks, here's my question. I'm not asking Frost Giant to answer, and I don't know the answer either, so this is nothing. Is it going to be the 3rd race? Is that going to be, or the 3rd of, maybe some more, but because we've been told 3+, is that 3rd race going to be revealed? Are we actually going to see some units in a game? What are we like? I'm asking for pure conjecture here. I'm not asking you to answer, actually, Frost Giant, because I understand. We're gonna find it on Sunday, but conjecture, please. What is your wildest guess? But okay, Ryung actually kind of realizing that what this game state is, he's not really running on the map. Yeah, that's fair, Frost Giant. Not a new race, not gameplay. Got it. Okay. Okay, so the observer does fall. His Trap's just opening a bunch of different attack patterns or attack avenues here as it's starting to blink on forward. But wouldn't mind. He's gonna dodge it. There we go. I'm not sure that this is a position that Trap can truly break with the tank setup as they are. There's a slim timing when we still have High Templars on the field before Ghosts arrive, where the Storms are going to do a lot. As we see just a bunch of just hell on hold position, but now the Bio looking to stem on forward. One High Templar falls. Good feedback on the Raven. I believe it actually just died. Zealous Warping in the main base as well. Trap just trying to tear Ryung apart. Ryung is really good at TVP, but it feels like his best skill, his best version of TVP is when he's playing into these Colossus styles. That is so much more of a positioning setup, not into this just mass charge lots everywhere, because 28, 29, 30 workers, 31 workers have died. Friendly fire on the Widowmine's getting so much here. And Ryung, he's realizing that he's in a bad spot. We're seeing him pull back from his share just a little bit. And Trap doesn't even need to do anything anymore. He's going to run back home. He realizes that the Storms were good enough. 32 workers, now putting Trap at 34. Trap, or putting Ryung at 34. Ryung now, he's in an all-in position. Whether he's going to go for the all-in, I don't know, but his economy is in such a bad spot. But he does have Ghosts. He's +1 armor, so his 1-1 is going to be done rather soon. He has all these tanks, and actually the Raven did survive. So there's a slim timing before Trap being on the gold base, being on 74 probes, is just going to allow him to ball out of control. But we're going to have to see whether that is something that Ryung is looking for. But also Frost Giant, you know, I know you don't want to overhype things too much, but congratulations on your website breaking for like 2 days. I know on the one hand that's got to be, you know, chicken running on just absolutely just chaos. But on the other hand, it's got to feel good to have enough people excited that the website literally went down. I got to imagine there's a couple zealots looking for run by, but there's a Widowmine in the tank, so I'm not going to get all that much done. I'm actually going to trigger a second Widowmine shot maybe, which is nice. But now that Trap has been able to stabilize his position. I still have the bracket command up. Lave, I have intentionally not updated the bracket command for this setup because the games happened this morning. So, that's a big EMP here. Wait a minute. Ryung, he has an opportunity. Ghost runs forward, and okay, looks like there was still one Storm remaining. Second one is there as well, but it's really not going to land all that much. Ryung, he's looking for the big surround here, looking to take the game for Team GP for actually doing something to put himself in a playoff position, but the Vikings, they're just not enough. And the big Storms here on the high ground as well. Second one not really going to get as much. Meanwhile, Zealots on the other side of the map. Tanks are doing a decent job, but SCVs continue to fall. Armor Shredder Missile doing what it can. Ryung, for a second, he looked like it was going to work. He looked like he'd found an opportunity, but he's sitting back sighing once again. That is just going to do it. He had one chance, one opportunity. Knees sweaty. Mom spaghetti.